of the National Administration, the Board of Directors, the National Leadership Council, and the entire membership of ULA, we want to welcome you to this first in its kind in an immigration summit, a summit that we felt that it was compelling for us as a union to step in and collaborate and partner with all of the great people who have been doing, great work on behalf of Liberians. History has it that it has taken over 2 decades here. We have the experts here from the immigration and other partners. We want you to tell your story. The problems you have been encountering with the immigration or any constraints associated thereof, so that together we can find a commonality to have a blueprint and a framework that will bring relief of immigration to our people. This is a major calling. This is a major responsibility. Do not shy away. Tell your story. If for any reason you want to be anonymous, you can send us a text. You can send it to any of us. We will pass it through the moderator so that you can ask the question on your behalf. But we think there's an opportunity that we should not let it pass. While I'm doing this, I got my friend and brother who said, opportunity is like a bald-headed man. I don't know what. In Liberia. This is a separate matter, but it has to do with advocacy. So we'll be asking you in the very near future so that you can call your congressman in Liberia and put to bear some pressure so that we also, that alien and not maybe for some reason a chapter that was suspended. These 2 issues I'm explaining, the immigration, not the immigration, but the dual citizenship and engagement, are tied into what will give us strength in this country. The more chapters, the bigger we are, the more organizations we have, the bigger our strengths will be. I want to thank you for coming. This is a real busy week, like our sister said, but you've come to fight for your brothers and your sisters, and we want to salute you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. We appreciate that. So going forward, because the biggest reason we are all gathered here is to hear from the experts. And so we're going to go through the formalities as we always do, and then we're going to hand this over to the experts, and they're going to tell us exactly, what we need to do, what has to be done to move on. But we need to make sure we pay homage to where homage is due. And so right now we're going to go to an overview and the history of the Liberian Refugee Immigration and Fairness Act. And that is going to be done by a representative of the African community together. And that is no other person than Diana Konate. So Diana, it's all yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me on the panel today. So I am the policy director at African Communities Together, which is also known as ACT. And ACT is an organization of African immigrants fighting for a better life for African immigrants here living in the US. We provide legal services, we develop leaders from within our membership, and we're also involved in policy both at the local and state level in New York and New York, Virginia, and DC. And we also advocate at the federal level. So I handle our federal advocacy and that centers around immigration. So I was asked to talk a little bit about the advocacy that went into getting LRIF passed. It was really something that, took decades to do. And that's to say that legislation like this doesn't happen overnight. It really takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of the community really coming out and fighting for it. So, for close to 30 years, as many of you know, TPS was extended over and over. Eventually it turned into DED, which was also extended for several years, given everything that was happening in Liberia. During that time, Liberians were organizing themselves, writing letters to the White House, working with their members of Congress, to not only get their temporary status extended, but also try to get legislation passed that would give them permanent status here in the US. And Senator Jack Reed, a senator from first introduced this bill in 1999 because of the Liberians in his state and the advocacy that they were doing in Rhode Island. So things really changed in 2017 when President Trump decided to terminate DED. It was at that point that the fight for permanent status really escalated. Our organization, ACT, along with a lot of other organizations such as UndocuBlack, Baji, and other Liberian-led groups around the country, such as ULA, really started organizing Liberians around permanent status. It helped to create more visibility around the population. It helped to educate policymakers and the general public about what DED was and what DED holders actually were going through. Liberian DED holders from around the country traveled to DC to meet with their representatives and senators. They told their stories to local and major news outlets. They participated in press conferences. They really got their stories out there. And it was not easy for a lot of them. Some people's families and friends didn't understand why they were being so public about their immigration status. But it was that willingness to publicly come out and tell their stories that really helped to get us where we are now. And as many of you know, there was also a litigation component to the fight. So with the 2019 DED deadline coming around the corner, we knew that we couldn't just take the legislative route, that we also had to sue the Trump administration to stop the DED termination. Trying to convince law firms to take the lawsuit, though, was very because a lot of them felt that DED was within the president's discretion, so there was just no way to win in court. But we kept fighting. We kept, reaching out to law firms, and eventually we did find some lawyers that were willing to take the risk and file the lawsuit. So they filed the lawsuit. We got a court date for it to discuss the injunction, and 2 hours before that scheduled meeting, to argue for an emergency injunction, the White House decided to extend DED that year. And we really believe that it was the public pressure created around the issue and the lawsuit that led to the White House's decision to extend DED. And that extension was what helped to win us LRIF. It gave Congress time that it needed to work something out and eventually get the law passed that year. So, LRIF passed in 2019, and it was a major victory for the Liberian community, but a lot of advocacy has still continued. One of the first issues that we tackled after the bill passed was to get it extended another year because of all the issues, the challenges that people ran into last year with COVID. But we were successful in getting it extended for another year. We also advocated with the new administration, the Biden administration, to also reinstate DED earlier this year so that DED holders wouldn't lose their status, wouldn't lose their jobs, and make it harder for them to save money and apply for the program. And the advocacy continues. This year, we're again fighting for another extension because, as many of you know, people who have applied for the program, well, just generally, USCIS has an extensive amount of backlogs. 70% of the LRIF applications are still pending. And so we really believe that, giving the program an additional year would not only help Liberians who have not been able to apply, but it would also give USCIS some breathing room as it processes applications that it still has pending. So we're still working on it. We're working on another extension, but it's not guaranteed. We've tried twice already. 2 efforts were not successful. So because it's not guaranteed, December 20th is coming up right around the corner. We really, really are urging everybody who intends to apply for this program to make sure they get their application in within the next few weeks. The deadline is still December 20th, 2021. If you get your application in December 21st, it's likely that you will not be accepted. Well, you won't be accepted because it has to be in by December 20th. So really urging anybody who still does not have their application in, just talk to a lawyer and do what you can to get that application in before the 20th of December. And in closing, I'll just say that, this has been a long fight, but one that was definitely worth it. We're really happy that, we've been able to support Liberians as they move through this next phase of their immigration journey here in the US. and support them as they become green card holders and US citizens. So with that, I will turn it back to the moderator.
Thank you so much, Diana. We appreciate that. That was a powerful presentation. And this has been, as the speaker said, this has been a combination of a fight for over a long period of time. And it's not just been Liberians that have been involved in this fight. There's been a lot of other partners that's been coming along to help us out because we're just a blessed people. But we got to make sure we make use of our blessings. When we pray for blessings and God put blessings upon us, we got to make use of that. I think one thing we have to start now as Liberians is start hashtagging December 20th. Just that hashtag December 20th. December 20th is that day. So going forward, if you're watching us on Facebook, if you're watching us anywhere, if you watch this video hereafter, please make sure as you do your Facebook post or anything, what is your family's event, your baby's birthday, your baby shower, whatever you're doing, just hashtag December 20th. Because we want to make sure our people know that December 20th is a hard deadline. So let's just make sure we get that trending. Let's make that an LIB thing. Let's just hashtag December 20th. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. The next person we're going to come on here, and again, this is about bringing people who have the ideas, who have been in the trenches, who understand the issues to speak to us. So we're going to bring on an officer of the USCIS to speak to us on the current status of the Liberian Refugee Fairness Act, and also to just speak to us about awareness activities that's been going on. So Officer Joanne Sisoka, I hope I didn't butcher your last name, but Officer Joanne, if you're on, this is your turn.
Thank you, and Diana, that was a great overview of LRIF and DED based on your background. So regarding the December 20th date, I want to make sure that everyone understands that we have to have the applications in and receipted by December 20th. So if you have something that's postmarked December 20th and it's received by our lockbox on the 23rd, it doesn't count. So remember the U.S. Postal Service or whatever mailing you're using, but especially the U.S. Postal Service is now taking additional days to deliver mail. So it's no longer, 3 days maybe to get somewhere. It could take up to a week. So that's very important to note that December 20th is a hard deadline that we have to have it receipted by. It's not a postmark date. So I wanted to make sure that was definitely highlighted for you guys. I did send you an overview of the LRIF program regarding who's eligible and who may not be eligible. Also, so you're sharing it, thank you. Just remember the principal person, who is the person who's going to show their physical presence and their lack of absence and be otherwise admissible, must be the person who is Liberian and have their continuous physical presence since November 20th. Their family members who can apply with them, spouse, children who are unmarried and under 21 years of age, unmarried sons or daughters 21 or older. They do not have to show Liberian nationality or their continuous physical presence in the U.S. Since November 20th, 2014. But those people do have to be in the United States to file for that benefit. This is strictly for people who are in the United States at this point. Sorry, I just want to go over some stuff. Again, Diana was talking about us taking quite a bit longer to process applications at this point. Needless to say that as long as you file by the deadline of December 20th, we're accepting it, and you'll remain, it's not a deadline that we have to adjudicate the case by, meaning that we have to make a decision by. It's just that you have to file by that date, and then your application is pending up until we make a final decision on that case. which means you would be eligible for employment benefits as long as you apply for an employment authorization document. Sorry, just going over some notes. Okay, and so filing instructions, there's a special instructions for the LRIF program on our website. Our website also shows what the current filing fee is. And just remember that the following would not be eligible if he or she has ever been convicted of any aggravated felony. So recently there was a decision by the Board of Immigration Appeals saying that carjacking is an aggravated felony. So something that may not be, and this is for immigration purposes. So anyone convicted of 2 or more crimes involving moral turpitude, and that would include like 2 petty thefts. One petty theft is a crime involving moral turpitude, but as soon as you get convicted of 2, that you're no longer eligible for LRIF. Anyone who has ordered, incited, assisted, or otherwise participate in the persecution of any persons because of their race, religion, nationality, membership in a group, or political opinion. Again, we will make the decision and review the application on its entirety to determine if the convictions or orders make any applicant ineligible. So I like to say, like, you know, kind of make sure you're eligible, but you know what, you can file and let us tell you now. That's how I feel about employment sometimes. Let them tell you now. So what are some credible evidence to show us that you have Liberian nationality? Sorry, there we go. Expired Liberian passports, baptismal records or other religious records, school records, medical records, anything from possibly from a third party that show you have Liberian nationality. In general, if you're not able to access primary documentation, you can submit secondary evidence, and we will evaluate that evidence, again, on an individual basis. And that also includes any testimony given in an interview, and anything that we may request additionally from the applicant, either an interview or any time after filing. No single piece of evidence we listed is required to demonstrate your nationality as a Liberian. We will consider any combination of evidence provided by the applicant, including those that aren't listed on our website. Again, you have to show us that you've been that the applicant has maintained continuous resident physical presence in the United States since November 20th, 2014, until the date that he or she has filed the Form I-45. Again, this is the principal applicant. Those who are riding with the applicant do not have to show that continuous physical presence. We are going to consider any time outside of the United States since that November 20th, 2014 date. Any absences amounting to more than 180 days, in aggregate, have failed to maintain continuous physical presence for LRIF purposes, and there are no exceptions to the 180 days. Again, the 180 days is an aggregate, so it's all trips totaled. So just because you took maybe a 30-day trip and then a 60-day trip, and then nothing was ever over 180 days, we are going to add up the total of days for that. Residence means your general place of abode, which means your actual dwelling place, in fact, without regard to intent. So how do we show the continuous physical presence? The 485 instructions, as well as our policy manual, list evidence that can support that continuous physical presence, but copy of all your passport pages with your non-immigrant visas, admissions, or parole stamps, income taxes that you filed in your state or federal or local, birth certificate, marriage, and death certificates for immediate family members, bank records, school records, Social security records. Maybe you even have a driving record, that might work too. Military records, these are just to name a few. Again, it's not exhaustive. We're going to evaluate your submissions and then make a decision on that. If someone does not have evidence of arrival and departure dates, when asked for what alternative evidence might work to demonstrate this information, applicants should submit the best evidence they have. For example, they can submit copies of old passports showing departures and arrivals, Form I-94s, or receipts for plane tickets. They can also provide information at their interview as part of their testimony. And then the officers at the interview can also check our systems to help confirm that your information is correct. Again, you have to be admissible into the United States. There are a few grounds of inadmissibility that do not apply to LRIP. That would be public charge, meaning an affidavit of support is not needed. Aliens present without admission or parole. So those are people who do not have status in the United States because they entered without being inspected by immigration on the way in. And document requirements. So an actual passport. I just want to make sure I get everything. So currently the fee is $11.40. That's $1,140, and then a biometric service fee of $80 is also required for any applicants between the ages of 14 and 79 on the date of application. So if your birthday is, let's say, December 15th, and we received your application on December 15th and you were 80, then that $85 fee is not required. Just in case, so we don't reject your application. This is just a suggestion, it's never a requirement. But I do find this helpful in some cases is that you submit two different checks, one for $11.40 and another for $85 for the biometric fee. So that way, if one is not required, such as the biometric fee, they won't, they shouldn't reject the full application. They'll take the $11.40 and send back the $85. Sometimes I think that's helpful in order to not get rejected. A fee waiver can be requested on a Form I-912. Applicants can request a fee waiver if they're unable to pay the filing fees or biometric fee. When requesting a fee waiver, they must clearly demonstrate they're unable to pay the fee. Applicants should refer to the Form I-912 page to download the form for further instructions and how to submit their fee waiver request. Applicants should submit their fee waiver with their Form I-45 at the time of their application for adjustments. Among other things, LRIPs, applicants do have to submit a Form I-693. That's the report of medical examination. Those are valid for up to 6 months prior to filing. So for instance, let's say we received your application today, November 27th, and the medical is dated from June, like June 27th by the doctor. That medical is still valid. It's within the 6 months of filing. But please be aware as of, I have to make sure on the date. I'm going to say it's October 1st. As of October 1st, if your medical is dated by the doctor October 1st, 2021 or later, the COVID vaccine must be completed. So this may delay some cases. So if the medical is not submitted at the time of application, that's fine. We do not want you to delay your filing just because your Form I-693 is not yet completed. And quite frankly, the vaccination is not completed until all dosages have been received, and I think the 2 weeks have passed by. So please make sure you file even if the medical is not yet completed. And again, if the medical is dated after October 1st, the COVID vaccine must be completed. So Johnson & Johnson's one shot, which would make it quicker to get the medical completed. And applicants must file a 765 to request an employment authorization. They can file concurrently with their adjustment of status application, or they can file after the fact. It's up to them. If the LRIF adjustment application has been pending for more than 180 days and it has not been denied, we must approve your Form I-765, that employment request, based on the fact that we have not yet adjudicated the case. So that's actually kind of a benefit. Unfortunately, the timeline's a little long. I'm not going to lie about that. But after 6 months, you're automatically granting employment authorization, which also tells you that we have 6 months to make a decision on that 765 filing. The family, again, those family members, so spouses, children under the age of 21, again, who are not married, and unmarried sons of daughters, 21 years of age or older, of the principal Liberian applicant can file an adjustment of status based on LRIF. But that's also, I just want to put a caveat, the principal applicant must have filed. So say for instance, I'm the Liberian, and I don't feel like filing for some reason. Well, my spouse can't do it because they're from Venezuela. If they want to file on their own, they have to be on their own eligible. So the family members do have to submit evidence of their relationship to the principal applicant, marriage certificate, birth certificate, and then if it's based on spouse marriage, evidence of termination of any and all prior marriages of the Liberian principal applicant, if applying as the eligible spouse of the principal applicant. If the family member is not filing concurrently with the principal, evidence that the principal applicant obtained green card status or has a pending LRIF application, such as the 797 receipt or approval notice, is sufficient to file as the rider on the principals. When completing the Form I-45, please make sure in Part 2 you choose other eligibility, and in the text that person would write LRIF family member. And again, the principal and or applying family members have to provide a list of all arrivals and departures from the U.S. They should submit evidence of such. They have to show, again, the principal showing residence from the date of his or her first arrival, where residence was established until the filing of the LRIF application. Again, general abode, actual dwelling place without regard to intent. Give me 1 second. And we may require an in-person interview for any and all applications, not just LRIF. If the person is approved under LRIF, we will issue a tenure card, and the the admission date on the green card will be based on a rollback provision. And I apologize, I do not know the rollback date. Maybe Diana does. I apologize. Maybe I'll get to that. If the applicant doesn't meet the qualifications for LRIF, of course, we must deny the application. The applicant always has the option to file a motion to reopen it or reconsider if they feel that we denied an error, or they can overcome the denial in some cases. Again, make sure you use the most current version. We prefer you download the forms from our website and complete them electronically and then print them out. Forms are free to download and fill out. Filing them is another issue, but just downloading any forms from USCIS is completely free of charge. So please, please do that. Okay. And then, okay, so I see someone asked a question regarding fee waivers or fee reductions. Again, please go to the Form I-912. That gives you the information on fee waiver requests and how and who is eligible and how to get them. Any other questions, or Mr. Tongors, or anything else I can help with?
The moderator, Zizek, you want to take over?
Yeah, there are some questions. I think what we're going to do, Officer Joan, thank you for that presentation, is the one question that was in there, I think that relates to you is the one that you just answered about the fee reduction. But there are questions to all of those who are watching us. There are questions on Facebook that you're posting. We're going to get to those questions. I think what we want to do is allow people to do their presentations, and then we just ask the questions, and then folks can answer based on their own expertise, if that helps.
Absolutely, for me.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Go ahead. Thank you so much, Officer. I appreciate it. So as this Refugee Fairness Act applies to Liberian citizens, it is only apropos that we also have a representative of the Liberian government, a representative of the Liberian embassy in Washington, D.C. to be on to give us some perspective from their angle, especially regarding the request, especially regarding the request of a proof of citizenship from the Liberian government. Because if you listen, there is a requirement for you to provide proof of citizenship. And so we're going to turn over now to the Honorable Jackson George, the Council, Liberian Council General to the Midwest. So Honorable George, if you're on, sir.
I think I'm mute. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so thank you for giving me the opportunity. Again, I am Jackson George. I'm the Honorary Counsel in Minnesota. In terms of, I do know that this program has been on, and it has been a concern of the ambassador over the period of time. I know I've been to DC on many occasions, in a couple of meetings as well, in terms of how many Liberians have actually used the system to regularize their statuses. For us, it is easy if you are a Liberian and you want to apply for your passports. You have the embassy in Washington, D.C., you have the consulate in New York, and Minnesota also offer processing of Liberian passports. For those who came on a resettlement program with I-94, you need to have that copy of your I-94 if you did not come here with a Liberian passport. If you have a passport that has expired, you can also bring that passport. It makes our work easier. If you have a Liberian passport, that expired passport, we can process that. So to make things short, if you want to apply for your Liberian passport, you have to go on the Liberian Embassy website, apply for your passport, pay the fees, it's $165, and then you choose one of the 3 locations in the United States, that's Washington, D.C., New York, or Minneapolis, and then you come and do your biometrics. Once you do your biometrics, then we forward that information. Every night, the information is uploaded to Monrovia, and then your passport is processed in Liberia. I also want people to know that there is, just because you process your passport, it doesn't just automatically come back. There's a line, there's a queue. People in Liberia are also processing their passports. So you get into the queue, then we do our best to get your passport here as fast as possible. Now, if you are under this program and you're applying for your passport, make a notation, let us know, so that we can try to expedite the process for you, because we know you have a deadline. Many of the people who are on this program have deadlines with the lawyers who are processing the papers, and they are asking them to submit these passport requirements as soon as possible. So notify the consulate or the embassy and let us know that you are on this program. It helps to expedite your paperwork to get it to you as fast as possible. And so I think I want to start there. It's not much of a process once you have the required document. For those who don't have any document, let's say you came to the States and you lost your passport, I would say if you lost your passport, make a police report. Get that as one of the documents that you need. You need two persons to vouch for you, write letters on your behalf, and notarize those letters. Those letters must come with the biometric section of both Liberians. So you need two Liberians to vouch for you, and those letters must be notarized to accompany your document. For those who have expired Liberian passport, that's easy. You also need to bring along your green card. Bring as much information as we can to identify that you are a Liberian. Remember, we are only processing in the United States, but the vetting is done in Monrovia. So if you do not give us enough information, your process will take a longer time because there is a vetting process in Monrovia to verify that you are actually a Liberian citizen. So that is why we need all of those documents to be able to be sure that expedite this situation. So let us know, either the embassy, the consulate in New York, or the consulate in Minnesota. Let us know that you are under this program, and so that we can help expedite your paperwork as fast as possible. I think that's about all. If there's questions, I'm open to answer.
Okay. Thank you so much, Honorable Judge, and thanks so much to the Foreign Ministry and the embassy staff and the Republic of Liberia for making sure that they work really hard to ensure that our people who are reaching the deadlines at least get some semblance of priority to process their papers. So we appreciate you always, Honorable Jackson Judge. There are going to be some questions for you. I know I'm going to break protocol a little bit just because there's somebody on this Zoom that already has their hand up, and I think that question is for the Honorable Jackson Judge. So let me just get them to ask that question, and then we'll bring the lawyers on. So Eva, I see your hands. Do you have a question for the council? Eva, Lapa? All right. Well, I see your hand up on the Zoom, but I don't know if she had a question or if it was a mistake. Go ahead, Papa.
So she doesn't have audio, so maybe she can type her question.
Yeah. So Eva, if you could just chat your question in the chat room, we can ask the Honorable Jackson Judge. But we will move on. Thank you so much, Council. We will be asking questions as they are posted on Facebook in the chat room, and then I'm sure you will have the chance to answer some questions. We do, however, have legal resources, and so we've talked from the immigration standpoint with the USCIS. We talk about an overview. We talk about this from ULA's perspective and from the embassy's perspective. Now we're about to speak on this issue from the legal perspective with some legal angles and some legal resources. And so we are going to turn this over to Attorney Simakowski. Did I get that right? Ina? Yes, I do apologize if I mispronounced your name, but you are on.
Thank you so much. This has been very, very informative. And just as a way of background, I am an immigration attorney in Columbus, Ohio, and I myself am a refugee from the Soviet Union. So many of the advocacy efforts that you are talking about are fascinating to me because you are an example of a community that has advocated for itself, and now you need to teach others how to advocate. I have introduced Alpha recently to a Haitian community leader because a lot of communities do not know how to pass this kind of legislation. We came from the Soviet Union in 1976, and we came under a refugee program as well. We also had Senator Lautenberg, who advocated for Soviet refugees, and there was a big push to get Soviet Jewish refugees to come out of the Soviet Union. There was also a Vanik-Jackson bill that traded Soviet refugees for wheat, and we were all destined to go to Israel, and then some of us ended up in the United States. So as a former refugee, it is an honor to be on this panel. It is an honor to listen to how your community has advocated for itself. If you cannot advocate for yourself, no one is going to advocate for you. So I think it's quite amazing that this has passed. And now I think it's really imperative to get people on board. So I have been practicing in Columbus for many years. I've been an immigration attorney for 21 years. And I have to be honest, on the ground in Columbus, Ohio, I have done intakes for about 3 Liberians, and our office has processed no Liberian applications for this. So I also volunteer at Vineyard Church, which is a big church here that has an immigration program. And again, several Liberians came in to do an intake, but no one followed up. And in private practice, we obviously charge fees. At the Vineyard, fees are quite reduced. I used to manage a program here in Columbus called Community Refugee and Immigration Services, and they have also seen very limited numbers of Liberians coming forward. So I think part of it is fear from the Trump administration, let's be honest. But I think also there might be just an inability to either reach correct resources, or people have been here for such a long time that they don't think this program will benefit. But anything that we can do as a law office to help spread the word and to get people to apply, I think that this program, I think the first message is that this program is real. This program actually helps people. This program will actually legalize people. This program really touches people to enter the country either legally or illegally. And if someone is in deportation proceedings, there is definitely a process by which you apply for this program. You send in your fees, and then you can adjust status either in the immigration court, or the immigration court may terminate proceedings, and then you can adjust before USCIS. So I think the push to the finish line of December 20th is to get people to apply for this program, because if there's no extension, the opportunity for this will be gone, and it would be quite a shame to lose the momentum and to lose the opportunity for this. I'm going to post in the chat our law firm information. I also always post my cell phone number just for emergencies. We do a lot of deportation work. So if anyone has a deportation emergency, the cell phone is there for that purpose. And I will stay on till the end to answer any questions. But again, thank you so much for letting me be part of this. And thank you so much for being true advocates for yourselves. It's really, it's quite inspirational. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for being on. Again, hashtag December 20th is the deadline, people. We can't say this much enough. December 20th. And the fees, I think, as we heard from the officer, was $1,140 plus $85. So that should come to $1,225. And I think she did recommend you sending 2 different checks. But the most important part here is December 20th. Please remember that. Your application has to be in, not postmarked by December 20th. It has to be in by December 20th. We appreciate you so much. We are going to go to get some questions and answers, but if you are on the Zoom, I don't know if we have the Jarvis Law Firm on. We were supposed to have Attorney Marcus Jarvis on. If you're on, please, this is your chance. But I don't see him on anywhere, so maybe I might.
Good morning, Marcus Jarvis.
There you go. Sorry, thank you. Appreciate you, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity of having me on this program. I too would say that this is an excellent program for Liberians. No other group, no other community has benefited in this way. It doesn't get better where you can apply for your green card. A lot of the things like not showing that you become a public charge, you came in without inspection, all those things are gone. And then once you're vetted properly to become a lawful permanent resident, a green card holder, then you can go right into applying for United States citizenship. So that's a really good deal. I just listened to that previous attorney. I'm not sure what you're doing in Columbus, but we have had quite a few Liberians applying in Minnesota, and we also pull them from states like Iowa, etc. Um, I would say that get the application in as soon as possible. Be truthful about everything and get legal help. Don't use your community in general. I'll be brief, so I turn the floor back over.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thank you for taking off your busy time to be here. So here's how we're going to do this, just in the interest of time and making sure that we can get as many questions as possible answered. If you're on the Zoom, you can either raise your hand if you're comfortable speaking, or just put your question in the chat and we can ask the question. If you're on Facebook, there are so many Facebook pages this is being shared into. We will try to see if we can monitor all those pages. Right now, we're on the EULA's one. If you submit to the EULA's Facebook page, we will guarantee get to it. If you are focused on Liberia, I'm thinking Dennis should stay here. He can get to those and get them onto us, hopefully. We will let him ask those questions. But we're just going to try to make sure we partner. And Alpha is also on here. So if Alpha is getting some of those questions or Minerva, just feel free to ask those questions, because I don't have access to all of those rooms that this is being shared into. And so let's just make sure we get folks' questions answered as much as possible. But we also have to be mindful of time. This is a Saturday on a Thanksgiving weekend. People got places to be. And so having said that, I think we're going to start with folks on the Zoom. If you have a question, if you're on the Zoom, if you're comfortable speaking, just go ahead and unmute yourself and speak, or raise your hand and we can recognize you either way. So right now we got 53 folks on this Zoom. If you have questions, please go ahead and unmute yourself or just raise your hand. We have a hand raised, Silver. Okay. Yeah, which page was that on? Okay. Oh yes. Go ahead, Ms. Celia, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask a question. First we'll start and then we'll go to Talo after that. So Monsieur, you're on.
Good afternoon. Thanks for the opportunity. My girlfriend called me. I tried to get her on, but she wouldn't come on. She said she applied last year through a lawyer. And then immigration wrote her to say she didn't have a lawyer. She called a lawyer and the lawyer said, yes, you have a lawyer. And because of that, immigration wrote her that because she didn't have a lawyer, they disqualify her. What can she do?
And that goes to the legal experts on here.
Marcus, if I may, I am not sure why immigration would say she doesn't have a lawyer when she had a lawyer, but having a lawyer or not having a lawyer, not having a lawyer has nothing to do with a decision that immigration makes. Immigration cannot deny you or force you to have a lawyer, and if you don't, they deny you. So there must be something else going on in her case that we don't know. So I would tell her to reapply or consult with another lawyer, have the lawyer look at the decision. They have to give you a written decision. And based on the decision, the lawyer can make certain determinations, certain recommendations. As I believe it was said before, you may be able to file a motion to reopen, reconsider, but they have to give you a written decision as to why you were denied. But I don't believe they can deny you based on the fact that you don't have legal help. It's advisable to get legal help, but not a requirement to be successful on this program.
Yeah, that's what the lawyer told her too. And the thing about it, she said, when they sent her this letter, they also sent her another letter after that to go do her biometrics. So she has done her biometrics, but this letter, it got her worried. So she said she didn't want to come home.
All right. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. Thank you so much, Anthony Jarvis and Monsieur for the question. Real quick before we go on to Ms. Miller, Alpha, if you could put in the EULA's Facebook page the information for the law firm in Ohio, the Simakowski law firm. There are people asking about it. The phone number, real quick, is 614-695-4605. Again, 614-695-4605. And she was really nice to share her cell phone, but this is for emergency only. So her cell is 614-599-0819. Again, 614-599-0819. That's the law firm in Ohio. Go ahead, Ms. Miller, you're up next with your question.
Mine is not a really question. I just wanted to provide some insight on the Liberian Refugee Immigration Act. And for those who are in the Trenton, Philadelphia, or Newark area, I do assist with filling out forms. So I've had quite a few number of Liberians, and I still encouraging them. Those who are on and listening, or you have your family and listening in this area, I offer free consultation, and I also assist in submitting forms. And the coordinator has forwarded a posted flyer from a group called Higher Ground International, and they are based in Providence, Rhode Island, and they have a website too. They are assisting people who do not have funds. They have means of assisting people. So if you are in the Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island area, if you're having difficulties to obtain funds to file your fee, get in touch with Higher Ground International. They have a deadline between December 5th to December 20th. And I have the phone number we posted in the chat and the name of the people that you can contact. So let's do all we can. Let's encourage our people to get this process. And I have seen people that have been afraid to come. I have poked them into sending the paper, and now they are rejoicing because a lady that came in the country in 1986, and she had been afraid to file her paper. And encouraging her, I was able to do the paper, and she got a green card post-dated to the date that she entered the country in 1986. So it can work for us, Liberians. Let's take advantage of this and let's make the best use of this opportunity that has been afforded us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And another thing, if you're on here and you have resources, just put them in the chat, and then after we'll go ahead and tag them on Facebook. But we will be EULA. I understand it's going to be collecting all those resources and it's going to organize them and send them out to your local Liberian organizations and also to EULA. So by all means, try to get to the website, EULA's website. I know in Minnesota, the OLM has been doing a lot of legal clinics. I know Anthony Jarvis has been to quite a few of those. So please also just contact your local Liberian organizations for everything. If you're lost on how do you move on, get to EULA. EULA will be able to send you to the right places. If you're also trying to get people to attest to your Liberian citizen, your Liberianness, your Liberian citizenship, I think it's very advisable to get in touch with EULA or get in touch with your local Liberian organizations, and they will be more than happy to be able to help you. So right now we have quite a few hands up, so we're going to go in the order. When you come on, please try to ask the questions as quick as possible so we get a lot of people questions answered. We're going to go with Lai Toure, and then after Lai is going to be Stephanie, and then after Stephanie is going to be Joshua, and then after Joshua is Wilma. So Lai, you are.
Yes, thank you, the moderator of this important show. And this is a clear manifestation of this time EULA is all for Liberian, because I have never heard this kind of initiative taken by EULA, but it's okay, step by step. My question here is that, let me just say, I'm the chairman of the board of directors of LAMA, Atlanta, Georgia, here. For this one that coming out. But what I want is I do have some people that I know that will help to file their document. So since last year, December, December they were called to do the fingerprint. since then, that being like a coming to a 1 year now, they have not been called for any other, no letters, they have not received no other communication from the USCS, for anything. It's been like over 1 year since they took their fingerprint. So what can we do in this kind of situation? Just lay back, sit and wait until you got communication from them, or try to go different ways for them to at least speed out their case. But it's over 1 year since they took their biometric test. So that was my question.
If I
I don't know if they heard that question, but somebody was on. As you come on the Zoom, please mute yourself. Yes, Officer Joanne, go ahead. You want to speak the question?
So if you have a USCIS account online, you can always check your case status on there, and it'll say that it's pending. Again, I would not be worried if an application has been pending for over a year. An application is pending until a final decision is made. And as I said, if you have not received your employment authorization within 6 months, or after, 6 months of filing, we will automatically issue that. If there is a problem with that issuance, I would call the contact center to advise them they are beyond the 6 month protocol and they need to issue that at their earliest convenience. But as long as it's a final
time for GED people.
I would not worry about it too much. As Diana said, those cases are taking a long time to adjudicate. You can always check case processing times on our website to see what the average time frame is. But again, no worries until a final decision is made, and you can check that online.
Thank you.
So, the final, is it that the geographical zone is kind of having effect on it, or what? Because some of these people that I'm talking about, they file their case along with some people that are known in Philadelphia, New York area. Some of those people already became the U.S. citizens, because of the time they are giving them on their green card. So, but on the Georgia side here, southern side here, that's where we got problem. It's very limited for you to see somebody that already got their green card from this south side here. But in New York, Philadelphia, people that they filed together, they already qualified to be citizens, So
yeah.
I don't know.
So again, each case is processed individually. You cannot say, as an agency, we cannot say, well, just because you filed on the same date, you're going to be processed in the same time frame. We do attempt to go, first one in should be the first one out, not the opposite. But again, as long as that case is still pending, your worriness should go away. But you should always check online to see if we have requested additional evidence. Maybe your attorney received it, and they have not responded, and I don't want to blame the attorneys, of course, but as an applicant, maybe mail has not received by you for some reason by the Postal Service. Again, I would check your case online. If it's within the processing times, then we're not going to move on the case any quicker because we are within those guidelines, which I can look that up and let you know what it is.
Thank you.
If I can add.
And hold on 1 second, please. Oh yeah, that's Diana. Go ahead.
If I can add, from the advocacy standpoint, we also encourage people to get in touch with their member of Congress to try to see whether, for two reasons. One, to see if the process can be expedited. And two, because members of Congress also need to know what's going on with the program. And they need to know about the delays so that they are able to do what they need to do on their end. We have seen with some cases when a member of Congress reaches out to USCIS that some cases do get expedited. We also, in our advocacy with Congress to extend the program, it's very helpful when members of Congress are hearing from their constituents that I have applied for the program, I have not heard back, or I've applied and
they denied me because I didn't have my passport, because this, because of that. They need to hear from their constituents. We go to them and we tell them what we're hearing from people in the Liberian community, but it's nothing like them hearing from their constituents themselves, because they can take our word for it, but they rather know what exactly their constituents are dealing with. So if you have applied and it's been a year and a half, in addition to keeping up with your case through USCIS, other options include reaching out to your member of Congress. Another option is reaching out to the Ombudsman's office, the USCIS Ombudsman's office, if there's any issue with your case, just so that everybody knows how this program is running. I just wanted to add that piece.
All right, thank you. And then just so real quick, I think Officer Jordan, I have one question for you in the chat room, and then we'll go to Stephanie. The question was about somebody.
My own brain, look.
Yeah, somebody, can you please mute yourself when you come on, please? Somebody said that they received their application returned to them, and it said for an incorrect filing fee, they had sent a check of $1,224. Can you speak to that real briefly?
Now, they were $1 short. So if you don't have the exact amount, you will be rejected.
Okay. Yeah. The $1 short is still not enough. So I hope that answers your question. Next person on is Stephanie. Stephanie, you got a question real quick, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Agnes. I'm with Stephanie. So my question is with a friend of mine who came and asked for extension, but she did this was in July of 2020, and her fingerprint was on a year from then. It was July of 2021. But then she got a response from immigration saying that they granted her the extension. But what it says was that the extension was from February 2021 to August 2021. So she's out of the acceptance letter was in October of 2021. So at this time, she's out of status. So my question is, why did immigration took a long time to respond to an outdated extension?
Is it 2021 or 2020?
The acceptance letter?
No, the one you said she was accepted for up to August of 2021 or August of 2020?
August of 2021, in February of 2021 to August, 6 months to August of 2021. But that acceptance letter was received 2 months after.
Okay, Officer Jordan, do you have a response to that, or any of the attorneys on?
I'm confused. Is this about DED?
This is about extension.
Was it the extension for DED?
No, the extension for visiting visa.
Okay, yeah, so I think this is only for the Liberian Fairness Act, but if somebody wants to answer that question, that's fine. She's asking a question for a visiting visa.
Unfortunately, without seeing the notice, I'll be unable to speak to that, but it sounds like she was granted her extension, but it may only be a 6-month extension. If they feel like they would like to reapply for the extension, we do allow for possible late filing based on the fact that the decision was after the fact. So they could possibly apply for another extension.
And what state are you in, Stephanie?
This is Pennsylvania.
Okay, the National Presidential Commerce in Pennsylvania, I would say maybe connect with them or connect with your local chapter, and they can find some lawyers and hopefully look at the letter that your friend received and see what will be the next step.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay,
next person is
that was actually Agnes, and she's here sitting with me listening in.
Sorry, Agnes, thank you. Joshua, you're up next.
Thank you very much. I don't know whether my question is relevant to this meeting, but I got a couple of people fall in that category and out of fear they cannot come on. So I'm just gonna throw it out if there's no resources for that. That'll be a plus for them. I got a couple of guys who they 2015, which automatically put them not in the favor of the 2014 premises. What is what is there for them? Is there any resources? And do they have any chance?
I think that's a question to Mr. President. I hope you can jot that down because I think also Diana on the advocacy side, I think you have to jot that down. His question is, what happens to folks who came here after the 2014 deadline that applies to people for this Fairness Act? Is there any other resource? And I think we have some lawyers on here too. So my brother Joshua, if you could write down some of the lawyers are going to put their contact information in here and maybe just connect with them or connect with what state are you in, Joshua?
I'm in Columbus, Ohio.
Ohio. That is the best place to be right now. Alpha Tonga is on, and I think I also see a lot of people here from Columbus. I see Africa is on. So please make sure you connect with those people, and if you can chat with Frank Carter is also on. So Alpha, if you could get his information, hopefully maybe that'll be the next week. That we can all connect with them and see what can be done next.
If I can interject, so those people would not be eligible for LRIF, that's the principal person. But let's say their spouse is eligible for LRIF, then as a writer, as a person who is a spouse or child or unmarried child over 21, those people do not have to show that they were here since 2014. Only the principal does.
Thank you very much. And I saw our focus on Liberia. You came live earlier. Did you have some questions from your end from the Facebook link that you wanted to share before we move on to Wilma? So Anthony's here or Dennis Jai. Are there any questions from your end? Okay, so while they're getting those together, let's move on to Wilma. Wilma, you're next.
Good afternoon, everyone. And again, we have to thank Eula for this putting this program together. I would like to share that. Well, first of all, I don't think it's fair for UCIS to hold someone's application for over a year and they don't hear from them. And we have to go through all of this just to get our people, after we fought so hard to get the LRIF bill passed, and then they just sit on it after people apply. This is absolutely unacceptable, unfair to the applicants, number one. And there's no excuse, oh, check your lawyer, go on the website. People are doing this over and over and over, and nothing. So I don't think LRIF should just sit here and give excuses. In some states, people are getting their documents. In other states, zip. One of our, I would call it our poster child, in the person of, and she doesn't mind because she's heading my immigration team here. I'm president of the Liberian community in the Washington, D.C. metro area. So we've been at the forefront of this effort, working with ACT, working with Undocumented Black, working with you and everybody else. And a nurse who had been here for many, many years applied. She was with us when we went to Standing Warrior, when we signed the bill, everything. We were there together, and she was our poster child. Over a year, she was one of the first to apply. Nothing. Her lawyer called. She called. She harassed all of us. She called me. She called you. She called everybody. What's going on? But when she called a congressman, Anthony Brown in Silver Spring, Montgomery County, Maryland, within a week, she got a response. She got her green card, period. Why do we have to go through all of this? This said, I spoken to Diana Konati of ACT, and there is a telephone number where anybody can call Congress and inquire and advocate and ask for this bill to be pushed and for the USCIS, for the Congress people to please look at it. But I think this is grounds for asking for an extension. And I wish Diana would speak to that a little bit so that we can make a concerted effort nationwide. Every single Liberian, whether you have your papers or not, every single Liberian should call their congressperson, email them, and ask for an extension of LREF, because we have not been treated fairly. We have not heard much, 70%. How do you do that? And we have not heard from USCIS in a timely way, in a proper way, and we need an extension. Well, I would say to Diana again, perhaps we need another lawsuit, as well as advocating for the extension. And I just want to throw that out there, and at the same time encourage everyone to make the call. Diana already has a number, and perhaps you could put it in the chat where we can share with all Liberians. Call that number, the same number, and they will put you on to your congressperson in your district.
Thank you so much, Wilma. And Diana, real quick, you got something to add to that, and then
yeah, I just wanted to quickly add why an extension is necessary and why people should, regardless of whether you apply, you haven't applied, whether you need LRIF or not. The reason why an extension is important is because so many of the applications currently have not been adjudicated. And what we are concerned with about is people getting denied after the deadline. So right now, when people get denied, we've seen a lot of people getting denied because, they didn't get their passport in time. They didn't have a proper letter from the embassy when they have a birth affidavit instead of a birth certificate. All these little things that are getting people denied. Once they get denied, they end up reapplying. If people end up getting denied after the December 20th deadline, right now there's 70% of applications that have not been adjudicated. If people get denied after the December 20th deadline, they're out of luck. They can't reapply. Even if they got denied because they didn't get their passport in time, they got denied because they didn't have a letter on Liberian government letterhead saying why they don't have a birth certificate, they're out of luck. So we don't want that to happen. We want people to be able to reapply if they get denied after the deadline, which is, one of the main reasons why we're asking Congress to extend this program. So I just wanted to add that.
Can we sue? Can we do another lawsuit? You miss a penny and you deny, and the 20th come and that's it. Can we do a lawsuit? What are all the options that we have on the table for right now? And I hope Joanne is listening and take it back to the bosses. We are not being treated fairly.
So I think that is another strategy we can strategize around, because I know we're going to stay in touch with Diana. But what we want to push is that first we got to make sure all of our people apply by December 20th, And then we're going to also be strategizing on how to make sure that we can get this extended. But there are two things. The first major one is let's try to get people to get an application in by December 20th, and then we'll all reorganize around that. Mr. Jackson George is about to leave because he has other stuff after I'm going to get to you. But there's a question here for the Liberian Consulate. Gako Mowe is asking that passport is not the only way one can show that they are Liberian. What other documents can the Liberian government quickly provide since we know that the passport processing will take some time?
But I think the issue is what immigration or USCIS is asking for. And they're asking for your passport.
Thank you.
It's Joanne, if I can interrupt. We are not just asking for a passport. In lieu of a passport, you can submit other documentation, such as your birth certificate, or your naturalization certificate if you naturalize in Liberia, your medical records in Liberia, school records, religious records. We are not limiting it to you must submit your passport. That is not the case at this time.
Well, I was only responding to what the embassy has to do in regards to what documents that you need from us to be submitted. So, in other words, I think the passport is the first thing that you will need. The rest of the other thing, birth certificate, I think would delay it or slow down the process. If you can get your passport to be that document that you need, please do that.
I appreciate that, Jackson. And on the issue of birth certificate, I'm sure there is a way to have a proof of birth process, and you can get in touch with the embassy and the local council. I appreciate you so much, Jackson. I know you have other things to do. Thank you for being on. Alpha, you had your hand up. I think you had a question.
No, not a question. Just in lieu of what Diana said earlier, we put in the chat a list of senators and their direct telephone numbers. And we have additional resources that we can send out if need be.
Thank you. And then there is a question here. I think this is going to be for Joanne and Diana and everybody else. It says, according to Section 245I of the Immigration and Nationality Act, all refugees are exempt from paying filing fees. This act automatically made all qualified Liberians refugees. Why are these qualified Liberian refugees being charged $1,140 in violation of the law, the Section 245I? Can anybody speak to that?
Yeah, so they are applying for adjustment of status under Section 245. Refugees apply under a different section of the law, so it is not the same, and that's why there is a fee charge.
All right, thank you. Hope that answers your question. I do have Alexander Bazi and Abenigo, so I will allow Bazi to ask first, and then Abenigo, you next.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, for allowing me. And I just want to say thanks again to the UDA for having such a unique conference in the interest of our citizens that we are fighting for. I have a concern that goes directly to Diana, if I'm pronouncing her name right. And this is to Diana, and it is also for the documentation. If I understood some part of the document that requires what kind of document to be submitted for such a program, this stated that you can also submit an expired document, whether passport or actually passport, expired passport. Your passport doesn't have to be a current passport. I just want to make sure if that is correct.
This is Joanne from USCIS, and that is correct.
All right, thank you. And then there is right before Abenigo, there has been a question in the chat room. Sorry about that, Abenigo. Let me just start in front of you. Dr. Sumo Hubbard was asking if an applicant filed to waive the fees and they do not meet the qualifications, would they be allowed to continue the process if they pay the fees?
If you're not, you pay a fee.
Yeah, so if they pay the fee and a submission by the December 20th deadline, the answer is yes.
All right, thank you. Abednego, go ahead. You up next.
Yeah, my question goes directly to the consular, the Liberian embassy representative that is online, if he's still online. Is the embassy doing anything possible to create an extra office in Liberia to expedite these passports that is urgently needed? We deal with technology. Passport can be getting out of Liberia to America within a week. To process passport, it should take a day to process a passport. So are they doing everything to expedite people who urgently need passport?
So he's no longer on, but he did say in his presentation that if once you file for your passport, and if it is for this program, to make a notation on there, so we'll try to prioritize those people who are filing for passport to meet this requirement. But again, on the issue of expediting passports and everything that has to do with that, I think the national president and ULA board can work with the embassy and the foreign ministry regarding that. But yes, he did say that once you make a notation on that, they will try as much as possible to prioritize the application.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Are there other questions from other chat rooms? Dennis, you did post some questions that I read, but there was somebody asking how do they get on. If you are watching on Facebook, please just post your questions in there because there's not a way to get on from Facebook, but we did post the link for the Zoom. But you can also just text your questions. I'm going to give you my phone number, 763 496 8361. So 763 496 8361, or just post it on whatever platform you're watching on, and we'll make sure to try to get some of those questions. We might not answer all your questions today, but we'll go back and get all those questions together and then try to send them out to the experts that we have here and have answers back for you that you can get from EULA or from your local chapters. Is there anybody still on here? Because I think time is fast spent. Anybody still on this Zoom that has questions for our experts here today?
Someone that got their hands up with the name Akatel 3 T8 tablet. Their hands is there's no name to it.
Yeah, I can tell you're on.
Hello, my name is Helena.
Okay, Helena, go ahead. What's your question, please?
Yeah, yesterday I did text you a question regarding the work permit delay. January coming 2022 will be 2 years since I filed on this program, and I've been waiting for that work permit delayed. Right now, we can't even work. We can't do anything. It's a financial difficulty, and it's very, very rough. And every time you call USCIS, they put a robot on that can't answer your question. It's very, very frustrating. How do we survive in this kind of program? Please, I need help.
So is it the Liberian Refugee Fairness Act that you file under?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So anybody on here, Louis, or anybody, Officer Joan, she's saying that she filed for a work permit and it's been 2 years and she hasn't had any response on that. Do you have any?
Yeah, so again, earlier I said that USCIS, if we don't make a decision within 6 months, we need to issue that work permit. So I'm not sure of what the delay is. And again, we don't speak at individual cases on such a platform, of course. But maybe you could seek counsel of the people who are here, or maybe get with Diana to see if she can assist you, because my answer to your question would be to call the contact center, which is obviously you're frustrated with, and I can understand that. But Diana may have a different avenue to go through.
Thank you so much. So what we'll do is, did you text that mom? Were you texting to Alpha? Who did you text the information to? You said you texted somebody.
He responded, so Eula has the communication. She's
That Eula, Tina Eula. I texted the Eula.
we have it and we responded back to her. So we'll forward your information to the appropriate individual and then we'll see how we can get you some help.
All right. Okay, thank you. So what Eula would do is they would get in touch with Diana and other people to try to make sure they can get you help on that. Sorry.
Yes, I need help, sir. I need help.
No, absolutely. That is very painful. Sorry about that. Eula will work on that. We have Louis on. Louis, if you're on, I see your hand up. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Yes, good afternoon. Thanks for the opportunity. My question is, if you have a pending case with USCIS, can you apply for other programs that are out there?
So yes, absolutely. Just because you apply for adjustment under LRIF, if you're eligible for another program or to adjust status, yes, you may do so. Of course, those filing fees will still apply for any other program you may apply for. But you don't get just one bite at the apple for adjustment of status if you're eligible in other venues.
Thank you.
And Diana has shared the switchboard number. After it's in the chat room, if you can post tag that on our Facebook. The switchboard number to reach Capita. If you're having some problems and you need to have Congress involved with that, it's 202-224-3121. Again, that number is 202-224-3121. Thank you. I think we've answered almost all of the questions. Time is really fast spent. We've had people on here, experts on here that have been here for a long time. So we want to say thank you so much. Say that again. Somebody was trying to speak. Okay, so we want to say thank you. We'll continue with the program. But if you still have questions, please make sure to still send those questions out now to EULA or to even your local organizations. But we will hope you send it out to EULA, and we will make sure to combine all of those questions and have answers ready for you. But now we have to continue with the program to try to close this down. We do see that we have the chairman of the board of directors of the Union of Liberian Associations in the Americas here. So we want to afford him the opportunity to at least a minute or so to speak to us. Honorable Afris here, if you're on, sir, we recognize your presence. The stage is yours.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to say a great and a big thank you to the administration of Shehu Kamara. Sorry, my granddaughter is making noise in the background. I'm trying to get a quiet place. I want to say a big thank you to the Shehu Kamara administration and the board of directors and the executive council for organizing this meeting today. And we are pleased to be of help to our people. Like you see, the advocacy for Liberians to recognize their statuses in this country all over 20 years of fight. But we are almost to the end point. And I want to say thank you for our partners who have been very, very helpful in working with EULA to get us to where we are today. We cannot say in words our gratitude for all the help as others, for all the work you have put in to get Liberians to where they are today. And as we are about to get to the finishing point, we hope to work together in the spirit of oneness, the spirit of African unity, to show that our people get to the finish point together. Thank you for the organizers. I see my son, Alpha, thank you for being on this morning. And I wish you all the best. I'm in Tennessee. I'm a Dallas place. So I'm not in Columbus, Ohio. But thank you all.
All right, appreciate you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much for taking the time, even though you're visiting with grandbabies. Can you please, can people please mute themselves? Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, for coming on. And even though you are with with your grandbabies, you're taking some time to come on to do community work. That indeed is the hallmark of a leader. So next, we're going to call on the General Secretary of EULA, just for some EULA announcements, and then after that, we'll be calling on the Leadership Council representative. But Mrs. Emmanuel Dambe, if you're on, if you have some announcements from EULA, this is your chance.
Thank you, Mr. Goya. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for attending. On behalf of the administration, on behalf of my president, we would like to say thank you. There's no other formal announcements other than there will be follow-up from this program. The lady, Helena, you spoke about your problems. We are going to get your number and follow up and see where we can link you to the proper authority. Having said that, we say thank you again for attending. We are hoping that this is not just the first of its kind, that this is going to be an ongoing conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Secretary General. We do have, if we have a representative of the National Leadership Council, again, we got to be respectful to the every organ and every leadership in EULA. So we need, if there's a representative of the National Leadership Council on, please come on and speak on behalf of the National Leadership.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carlo Miller, and I represent the National Leadership Council. On behalf of the National Leadership Council, the coordinator, and all members, we want to take this time to extend our thanks and appreciation to the National Administration, the Board of Directors, and all our panelists that came on to facilitate this program. We want to extend our thanks and appreciation to you, and just to encourage, the rest of our people that this is very important. We need to take this seriously, and as we leave this conference today, this should not be the end, but I will forward it up to our communities, our people who are still lacking will be able to. I'm sorry, my coordinator, I'm not sure if he got on. Later, he has some emergency that he had to attend to. And couldn't be on behalf of the National Leadership Council, we want to extend our thanks and appreciation to you, Mr. Moderator, and all the panelists that came on to make this program a success. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And then, as usual, as we're making these things, we're making some mistakes. So I really wanted to recognize, before we bring on the National Vice President, to close this down, I wanted to recognize the presence of Mr. Emmanuel Wetty. I think he is working on we're working two sides. We're working to get regularized here, and we're also working on dual citizenship in Liberia. So, it is very, very good to recognize people when they're doing their work, while they are still alive. So, Honorable Wetty, I don't know wherever you at, if you're able to come on, but, we can give you 30 seconds to a minute to come on just to recognize you, and if you have something to add to this discussion.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. I want to say thanks to the leadership and family. Thank you all the panelists, everybody. I don't have much, but I want to appreciate everybody, and also let me take a few seconds to encourage everybody in Utah and all the people. The same advocacy that we did to get the green card, I want you to help to get dual citizenship in Liberia. Please call your senators in Liberia have the bill to be passed. But thank you very much, moderator. I do appreciate everybody. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And so now we've come to the end of this. We're going to call on the National Vice President for EULA, Ms. Minerva Grant, to give us a closing remark. And then after that, we have prayers and we will say thank you to everybody. So, Ms. Grant, you are on.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Thanks to everybody. I guess our chairman already been thanking people for coming. We just, on behalf of the administration, the executive, we first thing want to thank the panelists that came, immigration, the lawyer, the person from the embassy, Mr. Jackson Judge, and the protection judge. The information are out there, the resources are out there. If you need it, please get in touch with your leaders in your community of all lawyers. You get some people that helping you free of charge. And so if you need those information, please reach out to people. The 20th is just like 2 or 3 weeks from now. So please let us do what we can do. Yes, we will ask for extension. We will advocate for that. But if we can do it, let us do it. Let us put in our paper and get things going for us. This is EULA. We told you guys that information will be out there. This is not the first of the last that we're going to be engaging the Liberian community. Things EULA will be doing, we will engage y'all because the first one we're starting, so please look into the chat room. We get our Facebook page, look out there, we have similar things like this with information, and don't hesitate to ask what you like doing. Go to your chapter leaders, ask questions, even get on Facebook, go to our website, ask questions, engage us so we can pass the resources and information out there. But thank you very much for coming and look out for more engagement from you. Thanks.
Thank you. And we can't say much how grateful we are for having our sister Diana here, and for having Officer Juan, and for having these two wonderful lawyers here, Samakovsky and Marcus Davis. We want to say we are in awe. Thank you so much for taking your Saturday to be with us. We appreciate you. We started this program by invoking the presence of the Almighty. We want to end it in the same way. But we started with a Christian. So if we have any other religion on that we want to offer our closing prayer, we appreciate that. Well, hearing none, then we'll take another volunteer from any faith, whether Christian or not, to close us out. Lord, we thank you for this organization. We thank you for all the leadership. We pray that whatever we have discussed today will be appreciated and we go forward. We pray that you continue to bless us and give us the guidance and the wisdom to do justice by ourselves. We thank you for being here with us, and thank all of those who have come. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you so much. Please don't forget December 20th. Amen. 1225 is the amount, $1,225. Let's hashtag December 20. Hashtag that. Thank you so much, everybody. We appreciate you. Blessings. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Goodbye to all.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Alpha. Thank you, Cece, for everything. Thank you, John.
Sagittarius morning.
Good morning.
Mother,
Yes?
do you have my number?
No, I don't have your number, and I'm not happy with you.
Alpha, please send it Facebook before people.
We are Liberian. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Israel, you raise the everyone. Liberian, oh. Israel, you raise the everyone. Liberian, Liberian.